Hello again, everyone. Ken Molestein here from CBS and DFW with some breaking news to fill you in on. Undoubtedly, this is something that's going to affect a lot of people. Southwest Airlines, folks, right now having more computer system issues. This is the second day in a row now. I want to give you a live look right now of Dallas Love Field. Chopper 11 over the scene there. And right now, we can tell you that nearly 500 flights have now been canceled and more than 700 flights have been delayed across the country. This is according to FlightAware. Here at Dallas Love Field, one more time, you can see more than 50 flights have been canceled, including some flights that were scheduled for tomorrow morning. So that's how bad the backup is. I want to show you a tweet from Southwest Airlines earlier today. They were saying, quote, "We are aware of system issues and are working quickly to resolve. We will share more info soon." So not a lot of information there, but certainly acknowledgement that they are having some kind of difficulty there with their systems. Now, City of Dallas also sent out a statement, and they said, "We encourage people to arrive at least 90 minutes ahead of time if they are flying this afternoon. The lines at check-in are very long." So again, acknowledgement from the City of Dallas that there are lots of delays to be expected if you are headed out to Dallas Love Field. But again, the news here is that hundreds of flights have been canceled. Even more have been delayed, not just at Dallas Love Field, but really throughout the country, as Southwest Airlines is dealing with some kind of glitch in their system with their scheduling, perhaps. And again, we are waiting to hear more information from Southwest Airlines directly, see if they can address the situation that is taking place. I believe, do we already have Mr. Denny Kelly on the phone? If we can confirm that. In a moment here, we're going to hear from a local aviation expert. But again, Chopper 11 is over the scene right now at Dallas Love Field, where, folks, if you've heard from friends, family who are over at the airport, you're probably getting text messages and phone calls right now, quite frankly, of them, complaining about the lines there, the waits, because they have now a second day in a row now experiencing some major glitches. So there is one airplane taking off. Not sure where it is headed to, but those are some lucky passengers right now that are actually headed to where they need to be going to their destination, because as we mentioned, so many others right now are grounded. Southwest Airlines already saying that some flights for tomorrow, as a matter of fact, have already been canceled, also due to the delays and the glitch that they are seeing right now. This is information that we received earlier today. We knew about this issue yesterday when we first got word from Southwest Airlines that this was a problem that they were experiencing. But once again, this has now gone into a second day and clearly a third day, possibly tomorrow, with some early morning flights already being canceled today on this Tuesday. I believe we have Denny Kelly on the phone now. Denny Kelly is a local aviation expert here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mr. Kelly, can you hear me okay? Do we have him on the phone? Mr. Kelly, are you there? Okay. Does not seem like we have him on the phone just yet. We're going to try and connect with Denny Kelly one more time here in a bit and see if he can give us any insight into the situation that is unfolding right now with Southwest Airlines. Obviously, Dallas Love Field is Southwest's hub here in town. They are headquartered here in Dallas. So this is going to be essentially ground zero for a lot of the problems and the issues that the airline is now facing. But from what we can tell here from Chopper 11, again, it seems like there are a couple of planes there on the tarmac, just kind of waiting around. We have another flight coming in right now. And again, you can call those passengers lucky that they are getting to where they need to get to. Looks like they haven't been affected too much, at least. But again, the report right now, folks, if you're just joining us here on CBS and DFW, is that 500 flights have already been canceled. Some 700 have been delayed across the country, and that is according to FlightAware. For Southwest Airlines flights, this is all due to some sort of a glitch that they're having, some sort of a systems problem that the airline is experiencing. If you know anything about this, you know that yesterday they were having the same issues, and of course this has bled over to today. We got late word last night that the issue was taken care of, but clearly now acknowledgement from Southwest Airlines, the City of Dallas. All you got to do, quite frankly, is look on Twitter and see what passengers who are stranded are now saying. You have clear confirmation that this is a problem that has not been resolved. Guys, do we have Mr. Kelly on the phone again? Just let me know when we do here, as we take a live look right now of Chopper 11 right now over Love Field. But once again, an issue that now has more than likely caused disruptions that will bleed into tomorrow. We're being told that some flights for tomorrow have already been canceled. Southwest Airlines making the decision to do that today as they continue to deal with this. Breaking news situation again, if you're just joining us here, this is a live look right now of Dallas Love Field, where Southwest Airlines is reporting some major issues right now, major delays and backlogs due to some sort of a systems glitch that the airline is experiencing. And one more time, folks, for those who are just joining us, if you knew about this yesterday, this is the same issue that affected them yesterday, now apparently bleeding into a second day. And we're also getting word that this is going to go into tomorrow with some flights already being canceled. FlightAware.com saying that 500 flights have been canceled today. 700 of them have been delayed. And again, this is something that has spanned yesterday, today, and into tomorrow. This is something that also will clearly affect anybody who is traveling in and out of Love Field. We know that travel has been picking up recently with COVID restrictions being lifted, more people traveling, going to visit friends, family, traveling for business, whatever the case may be. The TSA reports almost on a daily basis now that air traffic is spiking. It's starting to go back up. So obviously not an ideal time for any airline, specifically Southwest in this case, to be experiencing any kind of a systems glitch. But unfortunately, such is the case for the airlines and for all of those thousands of passengers that are now being affected by this glitch. So once again, Mr. Kelly, are you on the line, sir?
I am here.
There he is, Mr. Denny.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us. We're live right now, live streaming on CBS and Dallas Fort Worth. So, quick introduction for Mr. Denny Kelly. For those who are not familiar with the name, he is a local aviation expert here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, who's been kind enough to call in and give us a little rundown from his perspective as to what is going on over with Southwest Airlines. Mr. Kelly, what have you been able to gather?
Well, what I gather so far is that nobody really knows what's going on except the computers aren't working. I mean, they don't really know why, and they're working. I was told that they're working feverishly to repair the problem and get the computers up. And surely they are, because something like this is very, very expensive to Southwest. And the disruption to the airline is unbelievable. It's really sad. You know, they're starting to come out of the COVID thing, and all of a sudden this happens, you know.
Well, and I wanted to ask you that because to that point, Mr. Kelly, when you hear about 500 flights being canceled, 700 of them being delayed, obviously this is happening over the span of 3 days, yesterday, today, and we're hearing that this is going to affect flights into tomorrow. When we talk about that many flights, hundreds of them, what does that mean for the industry as it's trying to rebound right now from, from everything that's happened in the past year and a half?
Well, it's a tremendous tragedy. I mean, it's not only for Southwest, but the publicity alone affects all the other airlines. People were starting to build their trust back up into the airlines, and then this happens, and it's a shame. But what can they do? You know, they're trying to fix it. And the problem is that it is an important thing. You know, the weather that they get, the crew gets, is important. It's very important. And, they're not getting it. So the airplanes are on the ground.
We're watching a live feed from Chopper 11 right now, Mr. Kelly, of, I guess, what we could call the few lucky passengers who are being able to fly out of Love Field. There's an airplane right now coming down the runway, presumably taking off, because we know that there are thousands others who are going to be stranded, delayed, have their flights canceled. I know the airline isn't giving much information right now. I know that your insiders are telling you it's something computer related. We've heard as much as well. I cannot help to think, though, with some of the recent news headlines of hacks happening here locally in the United States and internationally, and the threats of cyber attacks, if perhaps this is the kind of situation that Southwest is dealing with. Are you getting any kind of indicator whatsoever that potentially whatever Southwest is dealing with right now is the result of some kind of a cyber attack, sir?
No, I haven't heard. I haven't talked to anybody who uses those terms.
Okay.
I mean, it's certainly possible, and it's something that they would have to look at. But so far, I've heard that it's just a computer problem. And, the airlines are trying to fix it. 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 And, the airlines we all have computers and we all have problems with them. And it's a shame. Like I said, it's a shame.
Typically, what are the steps that follow now? How does an airline, well, at this point, an entire industry, handle a delay, a backlog, a problem of this magnitude? What can people expect will happen in the next day or so?
Well, it's really a problem, and it's really a lot of work, and there'll be a lot of people that are working around the clock to try to get everything back in order. They have a schedule published, and they have to try to fill that schedule, and so that's where they'll start. They'll start trying to put the airline back together by the schedule. Now, some of the flights are such that you can't put them back on the schedule until tomorrow or the next day because the airplanes aren't in position. And that's really what happens a lot is that the aircraft, the equipment, does not end up in the place where it should, to make the flight. If you've got a guy that's, let's say he's going from, I don't know, Los Angeles to Phoenix to Kansas City, and that airplane's supposed to spend the night in Kansas City, but all of a sudden something happens, and the airplane isn't in Kansas City. So that's a problem. So what do? Do they take an airplane off another flight and cancel it, or do they wait till this airplane gets there? I mean, it's a tremendous job, and I'm glad I'm not the person that is involved in doing that.
You don't envy that job. That's a huge task, probably more than any one person can handle. And as you mentioned, Mr. Kelly, this is a team effort. This isn't just one person.
I would bet they have several hundred people. I mean, maybe not directly, but you have the dispatchers and you have the crew schedulers and you have the passenger service people, and they've all got to coordinate. So
let's try and give some advice, some tips. Obviously, this is this goes without saying, Mr. Kelly. Big heads up, clearly, for anybody traveling Southwest Airlines in the next coming days. Obviously, today, especially out of Dallas Love Field. But what kind of information, what kind of tips could we give to travelers here who might be affected by this? What would you suggest that they do, if there is anything that they can do?
Well, they really can't do much. It's up to Southwest to get everything back in order. I would call Southwest. If you got a flight out of Love Field, say tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon early, I would call them every hour to see what the status is. One of the things you can do is you can go to the Southwest website and see what they're publishing, and then go to their schedule and see what they show on their schedule. The schedule, if the airplane is not going to operate, the schedule should say canceled, and that that's a pretty good clue.
I'm
but
wondering,
the last thing in the world that Southwest wants to do is cancel any
flights.
of these flights.
Sure, right. I mean, that's just money lost, time lost, money lost, and as we mentioned at the top of our conversation here, Mr. Kelly, this is unfortunate because obviously it is happening at a time when the COVID restrictions are being lifted and so many people are now taking to the skies again and helping to revitalize an industry that was practically, dead for the past year and a half. I'm wondering, though, as we chat about this, we know that other airlines, namely American Airlines, also based out of here, Fort Worth, are dealing with a shortage in staff, folks that can help solve issues, take phone calls. Is Southwest in the same predicament, to your knowledge? Are they at that same sort of, are they dealing with those same restrictions?
Well, those kind of people are not directly involved in scheduling these flights. So what Southwest has to do is they're going to have as many people as they can get that have knowledge about this situation and put them together and have everybody they can try to straighten this thing out.
Yeah.
Once they get it straightened out, then they can put these people back on the phones and say, Mr. Jones, I'm really sorry we had to cancel your flight, or I'm sorry your flight was 5 hours late and you couldn't make a connection. But until that time, the big thing is getting the airline back in order.
I can't remember, at least any time in recent memory, Mr. Kelly, of something of this magnitude happening that affects an entire airline with this many cancellations and backlogs due to a computer issue. I'm also sitting here as we look at these live pictures of Dallas Love Field and thinking, and I'm sure it would come at a very heavy cost to the airline, but do they try and compensate their passengers or their customers for the inconvenience, or is this something that is just so far out of their scope that perhaps everyone's just got to bite the bullet, so to speak?
Well, each airline has a little different policy, but I am sure that people that are stranded because of this and they can't get out, they're going to have to. They're probably going to have to get them a hotel room.
Yeah, right.
Of course, that's another expense. But, bottom line is there's nothing they can do about it. They got to do it. I mean, They could go to Walmart and buy a bunch of tents and put the tents up at the airport or something. But basically, it's a computer problem, and these people, the passengers, are going to have to be patient and understand that computers break down. But they don't. I mean, I was in the airline business long enough. Several decades, and I can tell you that people don't understand a problem like this or a broken airplane. I remember one time I went into Little Rock with an airplane that we had to shut an engine down, and it was pretty well. It's kind of dramatic. I mean, it had a little fire coming out of both ends and all that kind of stuff. It really was not. It turned out it was not a serious problem, but we had airplane didn't fly again for 2 or 3 days.
Wow, and that's a long time.
And people are calling people on the phone saying these blankety blank airline, they're blank. It just happens. Stuff happens. So people are going to have to understand that computers break down, just like automobiles and airplanes and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And for folks who are just joining us here, breaking news here with CBS and DFW, we do have Mr. Denny Kelly on the phone with us, giving us some insight and some play-by-play as to the situation that is unfolding with Southwest Airlines. If you haven't already heard, folks, Southwest Airlines is dealing with a major computer issue at this hour that is affecting hundreds of flights. We're talking about 500 cancellations, 700 delays in flights, and that is as of last check, according to FlightAware. We can only expect that those numbers will continue to increase throughout the day and into tomorrow. This is a problem that we first reported on yesterday. We heard about it. It has obviously bled into a day 2 today on this Tuesday, and we're already hearing that tomorrow, Wednesday, there will be cancellations already that inevitably will happen. Mr. Denny Kelly here, a local aviation expert, helping break it all down for us. Mr. Kelly, when we think about how long the backlog could last, and again, we keep using the numbers, 500 cancellations, 700 delays. Right. But let's just say this thing gets fixed by tomorrow. The computer issue, that is. The backlog obviously will still continue for a few more days. At this point, how far out are we, you think?
Well, I would think by the weekend they would have it fixed. I hope they have fixed it. My wife is flying on Southwest Friday, and I would like to have her home, but
right.
They are working as diligently and as hard as they can to solve the problem. Not because they care about their passengers. They say they do, but they don't. They only care about the bottom line, and that's money.
Right, sure.
And the quicker they get the airline back up in the air and flying on schedule, then the revenue stream keeps coming, or starts coming again. And that's just the way it is.
It is an industry, a very lucrative one. We know that, and that is why so much of this that is happening right now is creating, really, it's wreaking havoc right now on any kind of plans, on any kind of budgets. As you mentioned, we can start with cancellation of flights, but this goes a lot further because, like you said, it is upon the airline now to try and find hotels for these people, maybe meal vouchers. Who knows if rental cars are involved for this inconvenience, and all of that obviously is
Oh, yeah.
associated with a dollar figure. And, you know, one more time, this is an industry that is just now rebounding from everything that has happened in COVID. Mr. Kelly, I want to hang on here just for one more second. We've spoken at length about a lot of things, but don't go just yet, because I do want to read something to you. This is new information that we've just received now, and this is a source at Southwest that is now telling us here at CBS 11 that their internal systems apparently are starting to come back online now. And this includes their email. They're not saying that the problem is fixed. They're just saying that the internal systems are starting to come back online, so that there is some movement there. Still nothing official from the airline, however, and it is not clear exactly how long it'll take to get everything going once again and once their systems do come back on. But this, you know, speaks to the last question that I just asked you, which was, if this were to be fixed right now or later tonight, the backlog is so great that it's going to continue at this point from where we sit on Tuesday, Mr. Kelly. This is going to continue through the weekend, you're estimating.
Well, I'm estimating that, you know, they probably still don't know what the problem really is. But I am estimating that sometime between Thursday night late and Saturday noon, they will have, you know, most of the airline back in order and flying. And again, not because they care about the passengers. They care about their passengers to a certain extent, but because of the money.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine how much money it costs to cancel one of these flights? I mean, it's not just the passenger paying passenger. They got to pay the crew.
Yep. Right.
They got, you know, and they got catering services. You know, even if it's just peanuts and, well, I guess they don't do peanuts anymore. I guess if it's just pretzels and Cokes,
right,
it's still a certain amount of money.
Sure, especially when you talk about this many flights.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All over the country.
All over the country. That's right.
All over the country.
As of last check, 500 cancellations one more time and 700 delays. Mr. Kelly, we're going to go ahead and let you go now. I thank you very much for your insight and for taking the time to answer some of these questions and help us provide some more perspective to this situation that is unfolding with Southwest Airlines. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
You're welcome. Call anytime.
Will do. Enjoy the rest of your day. Folks, we want to show you the tweet that Southwest Airlines sent earlier. And again, we're not getting a whole lot from them, at least nothing official. A lot of the information that we're getting is coming through different sources from within the airline. But as far as an official statement, this is about as much as we've been able to get. It says, quote, "We are aware of system issues and are working quickly to resolve. We will share more information soon." And of course, we are all waiting to hear what that new information is soon. The city of Dallas also issued a statement, and from their part, they're saying, "We encourage people to arrive at least 90 minutes ahead of time if they are flying this afternoon. The lines at check-in are very long." So City of Dallas saying get there at least an hour and a half before. But as you just heard from our aviation expert, Mr. Denny Kelly, he says call your airline. Call at least once an hour to get the status on your flight, because at this point, it's looking like your flight was probably canceled or delayed altogether. Some flights that we know already canceled for tomorrow. So you're going to want to call Southwest Airlines, and this is affecting, again, not just Dallas Love Field, but air travel with the airline throughout the country. We understand that our Brooke Rogers, reporter Brooke Rogers, has now been reassigned, and she has headed to the airport. She's going to be joining us live at 4 or 5 o'clock on CBS 11 News with the very latest from the ground there. We're getting reports now of frustration kind of reaching a fever pitch, as you would imagine, inside the airport with so many travelers that at this point inevitably are going to be stranded. I think best case scenario, we're talking thousands of passengers that might be delayed. But again, folks will have their flights canceled. And if you are thinking that you are going to catch a flight with Southwest today, you're going to want to pay very close attention to all of the information that we have to report for you, and you're going to want to stay very close to the phone as you call the airline. That's the #1 piece of advice that we heard from our aviation expert, Mr. Denny Kelly, is call the airline consistently and get an update, status update on your flight. Folks, we're going to go ahead and break away right now, but once again, we're going to have the very latest information for you starting on CBS 11 News at 4 o'clock and throughout the evening. Also, be sure to get the very latest information on this developing breaking news story on CBS and Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm Ken Molestina. We'll talk to you soon.